Grace Meng called out Pam Bondi for cutting 3 key hate crime prevention programs, including one Congress created after attacks on Asian Americans surged. Bondi couldn't name the programs, hadn't read the survivor's letter, and offered no explanation for the cuts.
Madam Attorney General, I wanted to ask about a topic that's of great importance to many Americans and especially my constituents, which is about hate crimes. I'm really troubled that your budget proposes to end the grant programs that may help prevent some of these hate crimes. As you may know, I was the author of one of these programs, the Community-Based Approaches to Advancing Justice program, which was created in fiscal year 2022. This program supported local groups working to increase hate crimes reporting, give community members resources in languages other than English, and to improve relationships between local law enforcement and the community. It was a direct response to the rise in hate crimes targeting Asian Americans during the COVID-19 pandemic. You may recall in March 2021, 6 women of Asian descent were tragically murdered in Atlanta, Georgia. My Hate Crimes Act passed through Congress in May of that year with bipartisan support, including from several of my colleagues on the other side of the dais. For years, I've been hearing from constituents about how scared they felt and have been hearing from members of these communities as well as experts who've told me that one of the best ways to combat hate in this country is to fund prevention programs. So not just prosecution, but also prevention. I have a letter here that hate crime survivors and family members wrote to you in May, expressing their strongest concerns about the termination of these grants. Signed by people like family members of Emmett Till, James Byrd Jr., Matthew Shepard, and survivors of the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the hearing record this letter from these survivors and family members to Attorney General Bondi regarding the termination of hate crimes related grant programs.
Without objection.
Oh, yes, without objection.
Thank you, Chairman. Attorney General Bondi, I absolutely share your support for our law enforcement and for the prosecution of hate crimes in a just way, but we must combat all forms of hate on all fronts, bringing together law enforcement and community leaders and members of the public. And these grant programs have helped many communities do exactly this. So I just wanted to ask and hear from you why there is a proposal to eliminate the 3 largest sources of DOJ funding for hate crime prevention programs.
Yeah, and Ranking Member, can you list those 3 for me again? And I'm sorry, I have not received your letter yet, but I would welcome working with you on any issue regarding hate crimes in the Asian American community, in any community. I welcome working with you on that.
Okay, yeah, I would love to. And this letter was sent May 15th, and we'll make sure that you and your team have received it. So the programs, one of them, for example, is named the Community-Based Approaches to Advancing Justice. 3 programs have been cut, and one of these programs literally help support our law enforcement departments locally, like our NYPD, to train and respond to hate crimes.
Let me see. So we have 5,800 grants, Chairman, that come, Ranking Member, excuse me, that come through my office. 365 have been cut so far. That's approximately 6%. What I will tell you is we have turned back on 13 of those so far because people have reached out to me. If you want to reach out and talk to me directly, I will give you my cell phone. I would love to sit down with you and see if we can work that out. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with those 3 directly. But again, we will, if you have on either side of the aisle any grants that you believe should be back on, I would love to meet with you and work with you on that. We're doing that on a case-by-case basis, and law enforcement is my top priority, especially hate crimes, violence against women, everything I've done my entire career as a prosecutor. I think we have a former prosecutor in the room too, and I look forward to working with you on this and seeing what we can do to help you.
Great, we'd love to work together, and we will flag all the programs that have been impacted, including those that directly support our local law enforcement like NYPD. And just to be more specific, the 3 programs mentioned are community-based approaches, Jabara Hire, No Hate, and Shepherd Bird, No Hate Shepherd Bird. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez.
What Representative Grace Meng does in this hearing is rare and precise. She brings the human cost of policy decisions directly into the room. This isn't just about line items or budgets, it's about real people whose safety depends on programs Attorney General Pam Bondi is proposing to eliminate. Meng begins by setting the context. Hate crimes surged during the COVID-19 pandemic, hitting Asian American communities particularly hard. Congress responded not with rhetoric, but with bipartisan legislation. Meng reminds Bondi of tragedies, like the Atlanta spa shootings, where 6 Asian women were murdered, showing why these prevention programs exist. These are not abstract grants, they are lifelines. She goes further, explaining something most viewers might not know. These programs weren't just about prosecuting crimes. They were designed to prevent them, providing language access resources, community education, reporting systems, and trust building between police and vulnerable communities. They deliver exactly what communities have begged for when they feel targeted and unprotected. Meng drives the point home by citing the survivors and families who wrote directly to Bondi, asking her not to cut these grants from relatives of Emmett Till to families of the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting. And Bondi hadn't read the letters. That moment exposes the gap. Bondi doesn't know the programs, can't recall the letters, and cannot explain why they are being cut. Meng stays calm, patient, and clear. She lists the programs, explains their purpose, and notes their real-world impact, including support for large departments like the NYPD. These aren't minor grants. They are central to the national strategy for preventing hate crimes. Bondi's response is telling. She talks about the total number of grants and even offers her personal cell phone, but she sidesteps the real issue. Why were the 3 largest programs targeted? She admits she doesn't know the specifics, hasn't read the survivor letters, and isn't familiar with the programs by name. Meng keeps the focus. She demands answers, explanations, and accountability. Cutting these programs has tangible consequences. Communities lose resources. Survivors lose support. Police departments lose training. And the nation becomes less safe, especially as hate-motivated violence rises across Asian American, Jewish, Black, LGBTQ+, Arab, and Muslim communities. This hearing isn't just a budget, debate's a leadership test. Bondi claims to prioritize hate crime prevention, but cannot explain why her own department is dismantling these critical programs. Meng doesn't raise her voice or get dramatic. The facts themselves indict. The takeaway is clear. Hate crime prevention isn't partisan, optional, or a place for administrative neglect. When communities feel targeted, when extremists are active, and when survivors ask for help, the federal government must ensure these programs function, not disappear. Meng's approach shows the public exactly why oversight and accountability matter. When leaders ignore critical protections, the consequences are immediate and real. These programs save lives, build trust, and strengthen communities, and Meng makes it undeniable that cutting them is not just bureaucratic, it's dangerous. If this helped you understand the